Alrighty, let's talk about the hotfix for September 23rd going live this Tuesday, I would presume, which would be in a few days' time, which is Sunday that I'm recording this. So let's have a short discussion about the class aspects for Warlock. Just been jumping around. Got a blocked nose from flying out for business for last week. So let's skim down to the changes. So we see Elementals getting quite a bit of a buff, but let's stay on the Warlock. All right, so we're seeing across the board. Look, every person that had a very cliched thing, more than 5 minutes exposure to a Warlock, and I mean in a more high-end aspect, with combining the PvP and the PvE world, putting it together, could tell you that all the specs are undertuned. Affliction, Demonology and Destruction. At the end of the day, to me, I voted with my wallet when they nerfed the shit out of Demonology back in patch in the towards the end of WOD there for the last 6 months or more. To me, mechanically, they had a spec. You had great movement. It was amazing. It was amazing spec that didn't seem complex, but was complex, but gave you just kept your brain sort of thinking in a positive way, or ticking over. Because when I'd taken that 6 months off and said, look, you don't want us to play a select spec of a class I love. The reason I came back and invested, it's only $15-16 Australian a month. It's a pitiful amount of money. I run a business, I understand that's, but times that by millions of people, and that adds up. But at the end of the day, you know, I felt at the start of WOD, I was beta testing my Warlock class because I felt the changes to destruction weren't good enough, and they kept buffing demo. And this is the bizarre thing. As we got further into the raids and stuff, they buffed demo, and mechanically, Demonology gave you burst AoE, it gave you movement. If you're playing build up the demo, the demon resources, I forget what it was called now, my brain's damaged, a lot of drinking, and flights and work and everything. I've just got back, I think I've got a bit of a bug now by the looks of it. Anyway, but surely, sunny Queensland, freezing cold, down south and rain, anyway. But you had a spec that gave you movement, gave you burst AoE, and you had decent single target. You weren't the best. There were some weaknesses. You could pop, you had all these options, and it felt rewarding and challenging all the same. Now, when I had taken 6 months off and I came back for the lead up to this expansion Legion, I had left my Warlock on Destro and Affliction. And I came back and I started to play it, and it was only a short period of time. I was bored. I was so bored that I thought, this is incredibly boring. I've got limited options. I'm not having fun. And it was just, I was like, I just couldn't be asked just respecing for that, re-changing back to Demonology. And I just said, well, if this is the case, I'm not going to get Legion. I'm not going to go for it because this is boring me. And I hadn't seen anything about the retooling of Demonology. But I switched back to Demonology, and just running around the world playing the game, it was fun. I had, I loved the leap, I loved the normal mobility of Demonology, all the things it brought. Mechanically, it was a great spec. The only drama you had was with Shadowbolt and Soulfire. I think that I personally would have just made it when you turn into the metamorphosis phase where you had the demon touch. I would have just made that like the main spell. That was to build up your demon fury. To me, and it allowed you to move around constantly, and you built up your fury, and then you swapped into your more powerful stuff. And you had the mobility and everything like that, and you had your demons and stuff. That was fantastic fun. Now we get to the expansion. Now, I got a legendary Affliction Warlock belt, which is so-so. It's $8.95, I won't complain. But I'm looking at all these buffs to demon. Look, we'll go down the specs. To me, I'll start with Demonology, because we'll go against the order. To me, this is a spec that takes over some of the talents that have come out of WOD and they've made the spec, you know, on Sims, you know, for e-penis or putting your penis on the table. It's like saying, I've got a... It's sort of like building a drag car, you know. You put the biggest effing engine you got in there, you just focus on having the biggest, flattest tyres, and in a straight line, you're going to do 5,000 miles an hour. The problem is, you're in a Formula 1 racing track. You know, you're in a racing track which has got turns and bends and stuff like that. So when it comes to the straight, you're going to blow everyone away, but as soon as there's a turn, you're fucked, right? That's Demonology. It's great if you can stand still, same in PvP. If you can stand still and no one pays attention to you, you can unleash, after about 10 minutes, just think of it as a wind up, you can hurt a little bit after a while. Whereas all these other specs can fucking do a lot of devastation and executions, you know. It's not enjoying it. Demonology, to me, the Demonology change completely destroy what was all great about the last Demonology spec. You took away all the movement, you've made it like a turret, but you didn't get, it's not deadly, you know. Its damage was falsely reporting because of the full life of the imps. It should be, to me, it should be a spec that you're allowed to have full movement, summon your Jesus Christ, if a Beastmaster can have 2 fucking wolves out or 2 pets out, we should have multiple demons out, but we shouldn't have tons of little ones. We should have bloody 1 to 3 big ones, or maybe 2 big ones with a couple of small ones. And we should have specialised pets. Demonology to me should be your anti-melee fucking caster. In PvP, the melee should be fearing the demo Warlock. This should encourage people to take a spec. It should make you so against you know, you should have your pets and skill sets be able to rip the part melee, you know, slow them down and everything like that. But you get punished a little bit against range casters like hunters and mages and things like that. Get that balance right. Affliction's more, you know, Affliction should be the death and decay, but the dots need to be stronger in damage. Destruction should be your burst cleave spec. And all should have a strong AoE, all should have a different flavour of AoE, all should have a different flavour, and all should be competitive. And it's about getting the mechanics right, and the damage, just tweak the fucking damage. It's just... To me, Warlocks, after I saw what happened to the Demon Hunters, this is more of an event. It's turning more into an event, actually. After I knew when Legion was coming, and then I learned that the Demon Hunters were coming, I knew any chance that Demonology was going to get a decent rework was out the window. And compared to all the visual graphics that every class has got to a degree, I feel like we're getting punished because we got green fire. I feel like we got punished because we got a couple of things that other classes didn't get. And Legion, they pulled their finger out and they gave us a taste. And we're the ones that lost stuff. We've lost Metamorphosis. We've lost green fire. Like, you don't even see green fire ability on Affliction. You don't hardly see any green fire on Demonology. It's all on Destruction. But Destruction's so fucking boring. It's not a rewarding spec. I don't care if you press one button and it did 1 trillion damage. There's no fun in that. You do it for a while and you get bored. I burn out on Destruction. I love Demonology because it gave that complexity. And now I'm playing a spec that's just, you know, mechanically fucked. It's just mechanically fucked. And here we are at the start again, into a raid tier already, and the Warlock specs are shit again. Right? It's like what? I was at one of the top 3 damage, DPS damage dealers in my guild run. You know, we were top 8 on our server, or whatever it was. I complained non-stop. They all got sick of me, because the thing was, behind the scenes, I was punching every button under the sun, jumping and playing. I'd studied every mechanic about the fight, so I was taking minimal damage, but I was having to work my ass off. And then I was watching a couple of friends play their classes, and they were fucking doing nothing, and they were delivering within 5% DPS or doing more than me, and they were having more fun. And I'm sitting there going, why am I getting punished again? Am I fucking retarded? But because I love that Warlock class, and this is the reason I keep coming back to the game, is that, you know, the green fire brought me back, and the mobility. To me, Affliction should be, we've only got a couple of dots. Affliction should have really sticky dots. They're undispellable because they stick to your body, and if you can get rid of them, maybe reduce their effectiveness in half, but you can't take them off. And you should be a fully mobile class as well. With probably everything should be dottable, right? I think everything should make it dottable, and that you could move on the, you know, and cast you know, drain life spell that lets you move on the thing and resets your dots, something like that. And Let Affliction just be that full flow motion spec, because it should be. It's a dot spec. Demonology should be, you know, an anti-melee PvP. It should definitely, if it's going to be a turret spec, it needs to be far stronger than it is. But it should, to me, it should be Demonology. I just don't understand it. Demonology is the spec that brings people to a Warlock. Demonology has all the fantasy behind it. If you played this game back when I did in the middle 2008, and you see someone with a fell guard, and you see the demon, the horse and stuff like that you'd get back in the day when you had to do all those quests, all that stuff you had to do, that was the fantasy that brought people into Warlock. Destruction was basically is a fire mage. There's nothing really destruction. You got a little pet demon. Yeah. Green fire is now made destruction what it is. Okay. To me, Demonology should be the go-to spec, and it should be all about pet management, and it shouldn't be about fucking imps, and it shouldn't be about the, you know, you cast the spell over and over to enhance your demons. I can't even remember. I don't even want to remember it. Because I think it's poorly implemented to me, and I knew they wouldn't put it in, because when you're trying to sell a new product, taking an old class like Warlock and say, hey, look what we've done, it's not going to get your people through the door, especially when you've only got 2.8 or 3% of the population playing Warlock. You got a massive number going into Demon Hunters because they got long hair, they got tats, they got all this massive damage, massive mobility, and I reckon there's a whole conflict between the Warlock and the Demon Hunter class. And I knew we were getting screwed, because the Demon Hunter, it's all about getting subscriptions and people in an easy click and jump mobility class, and it's dead sexy and all the rest of it. But for me, you should simplify it. Affliction, it should be a dot, high mobility. Everything should be castable on the move, and you should be able to fresh things with your drain life, and maybe sacrifice. Have a sacrifice between doing drain more life versus keeping your dots all up on the same target with less life drain. You know, with coming back to you, instead of doing more damage, you do more damage by keeping all your dots, and the dots get stronger as you keep refreshing them. Something along those lines. And destruction, it's a cleave sort of thing. But look, 10% damage, 10 to 15% damage across that. So drain life, okay. Demon soul, drain soul, yep, great. Corruption damage, so corruption goes up by more. These are just a core. Unstable goes up, see the corruption goes up. So we're going to even do more AoE damage. Siphon life, okay, haunt, and see, I probably reckon you probably just make all those up by 25%. I'd jack them by 25%, and if suddenly a Warlocks are so far ahead of everyone, just you can tweak it down. I just don't think it's enough. Demonology, we've got impact damage, which means when your Hand of Gul'dan slams down, it's probably going back to where that damage was in WoD, because you used to run around. That impact damage was actually quite in AoE aspects. Those Hands of Gul'dan that used to come down, at first it was the impact damage, and it was a shadow AoE ring as well from memory. That did quite a bit of chunk of damage, and that's part of what they nerfed and kept back. Demon Wrath is a joke. It's such a clunky. It just doesn't work. You got imps. It's forget about it. Shadow Bolt damage, to me, Shadow Bolt, yeah, 10%, fantastic. See, Doom damage increased by 10%. Now I have a problem with Doom. It's a pointless dot. It's a dot that you have to wait 17 seconds. You could jump it up to 30%. It's frustrating, because it should do either damage. It should do damage up front or damage over time. None of this sit on there for 17 seconds. You wait for damage. It's just sometimes you're casting in areas that it's not even doing damage. It's 7.5 seconds in some of the dungeons and rage stuff fights. It's not. That's 7.5 seconds. Get your timer out. Watch videos of people playing online. Get your timer out. Get your stopwatch out and go. And you see how much damage can be done in 7.5 seconds. If it was doing 500,000 damage, yeah, fair enough, but it doesn't. It needs to be heavy loaded. That's what I consider. Falgo attack power up, yeah, great. Fail attack. Dreadstalkers. Unless something's changed mechanically, most people aren't using Dreadstalkers. Unless someone wants to correct me on this. everything I've used in my macros for the Demonology spec is to avoid Dreadstalkers and implosion damage, or leave my imps out, you know, and Dreadstalkers are like an afterthought, because you haven't got enough time to keep everything refreshed and then beef up with your demon pack, fucking beef up, or whatever it's called. Doomguard, damage increased again, you know, way. Demon Bolt, okay, that's going up, but that's 10%. That's a bit of a misnomer there. So is that saying Shadow Bolt's up by 10%, then you take Demon Bolt and that's up another 10%? Or what you're really saying is Shadow Bolt and Demon Bolt are the same thing, they just get an extra 10%. So that's really, you know, waste of a line. Implosion damage is up 15%. Yeah, Shadow Flame, yeah, look, not going to play in Dark Glare. Again, a clunky spell, you know, you got to put a dot on everything. You got to put your Doom on everything, and then you cast a Dark Glare. It comes out and it starts laying the hurt down and everything. That's fantastic, but it's still got to wait 7.5 seconds for the Doom to go off. So to me, I'd want to know where they're going where they went with the design with Demonology, because it feels like someone, I don't know, had no passion or heart. Designers took a highly mobile, fun, to me like a four-wheel drive spec, meaning if I wanted to pull off the bitumen and go through mud puddles and stuff on my four-wheel drive, I just whack it, and then I want to go over a hill, I'll whack it in a low range four-wheel drive, I go over, yeah, I might struggle a little bit. I don't have to be number one, I don't have to go over at 400 miles an hour, but the mechanic of it was fun. And you guys said it was this and this and this, middle finger. Destruction is a boring ass spec. It's almost, I think actually looking at it, it's less about Chaos Pulse and more about the dimensions or the voids that cast it now, from what I've seen. Especially, it does look actually quite sexy and fun, that part. But it's what scares me going anywhere near Destruction is just that I've played it to death since patch 5.4, the Green Fire, Siege of Orgrimmar, the Brimstone, with all the incinerates. That was so much fun, and now it's just tedious. So to me, they can't make any mechanical changes, but what they have put in a massive buff. Now some other classes have got some buffs like Fury, but it just seems to me it's the same stuff repeat over and over again. Like, it's the same like back and wad. They get some specs going and they jazz it up. So Frost DK's a bit needed a buff. They obviously Demon Hunters need to be nerfed, but they were playing a game. So first month, they were playing a game to make it OP. The people come in, they go crazy, they get the taste, they want to hang around. Come on, we know what it is. I'm surprised the Balance Druid's getting buffs, but anyway, I thought they were doing pretty bloody well. And your mage specs are getting some increase. Nothing's been done to fire, which is interesting. To me, one thing I want to go over with all the other specs, you know, I think nothing's happened to prod spec for paladins, but I mean, and Shamis look really sexy with all their spells and everything like that. They just need to do better damage for elemental anyway. To me, you got two pet classes, the Hunter and the Demonology, and for whatever fucking reason, a Hunter is more powerful, can taking a pet and summoning a pet and bringing back an automatic life and healing it and all these magic things that dwarf you being this fantasy wizard demon summoning creature. Yet you can this Hunter can take a pet, and as I said in a couple of other videos, why should we fear the Legion? All they are is basically warlocks with pets. Who gives a fuck? That's easy. What if it was another foe that it was basically all hunters with pets? We would shit ourselves. They would destroy us. They'd blow us away, mate. Blow us away. But anyway, getting back on the track. I've enjoyed playing Affliction. I haven't raced to get into the Mythic Dungeons. I've given myself the 846. Easy could be 850. Where I haven't even tried. I haven't even pushed myself. This is the first expansion in fucking hell 8 years that I haven't jumped in and raced to raid, you know, to the minimum raid standard like 850 plus. Normally in an expansion, the equivalent, I'd already be at 850, 860s or whatever I needed to get in there, or I'd be just running and playing non-stop doing that. But I've been able to do different things. I've been focused on making money. I've doubled my gold. I think I had about 100k on my main Warlock, and now I'm up to 240 or something like that. I've done that in a week. about 10 days, and a week of that, or 5 days of that, I flew out for business. So that's not bad. So, and I know people have made apparently multi-millions in the first part of the expansion. That always happens, but not millions. So congratulations to them. But the classes to me, Affliction, make it a full mobile spec. Look, you just this damage increase and decrease. That's really straightforward. I would make everything dottable, and you can cast on the move. Everything is full cast on the move, and that you should have a choice between draining life or keeping your dots rotating longer, or refreshing the dots, and make that choice. Not give both, because that would be too powerful. But Affliction Warlock should be like the class that's hard to pin down and drain life and a bit tanky. You have to chase us. You know, we've got some mobility. We can physically run around. We're not stuck to our feet. Demonology should be for PvP, should be anti-melee, should have a lot of anti-melee capabilities, and also should be a burst AoE spec with way better mobility than it's got, but nowhere near Afflictions. You should still have some hard casts, but you should have, to me, because this is a demon. This is a demon expansion. We should have some really sexy demons, or some quests to bring on demons. And the fact that we have to buy skins for our demons off the AH at some ridiculous price, even though I got mine at extremely cheap because someone fucked up. And I've been running around with, you know, a Void Lord, and people will be going, "How do you get that?" You know, for a while I thought, yeah, I'm great. But then I realised all these people out there just want new monsters and pets. I said, the key thing here, it's about fun. This is the key thing, and I'm still in a rant mode here. You're putting up barriers of fun for people wanting to explore different, you know, specs. People, there are always going to be those people that will go to a class in any game if it's easy to press one button, everything blows up on the screen. That's humanity. It is, you know, why do people cheat in computer games? Why do people cheat in real life? Why do people commit fraud? Why will people? That is human nature, and it's a long. That simple question can be answered in a lot of ways in a long discussion, which I'm not going to get into. But at the end of the day, of course, Demon Hunter has been made very straightforward and easy, high mobility, high over damaged, and it's been tailored back, which is fantastic. But if you're putting up barriers to fun, you know, especially, it should be sexy. It's got to be sexy. New demons should have definitely been in for the Warlocks. You fucking have a great arts team that's been designing all these demons. We should have really strong choices of our demons. One should be really anti-melee, one should be really anti-caster, and maybe something in between, which is not as good as either one, right? But as a generalist one, and maybe that's like a tank version, and the other two are for DPS. If you know you're going into a real heavy melee mob scenario, you got something that slows down the mobs, that slows down their attack melee damage and things like that, can really and add to the buff for the team. But you seem to want to take that away from all the classes. And then maybe the opposite for the range one is maybe he has ability to slow down range casting and slows and things like that, and things of that nature, and more options. And it should be more about the pets, you know. And the thing is, you focus on trying to kill the Warlock if it's PvP or PvE, but the thing is, the Warlock, he puts his life into the demon, but also takes it back out of the demon. So he heals the demon and heals himself. So if he's healing the demon, keeps the demon buffed up, the demon beats the shit out of you, and he's draining the life out of you, which comes back to you. There's a whole great synergy going on with Demonology, as far as I'm concerned. It's not good enough. To me, Demonology is the fucking, to me, is like the sports car four-wheel drive version of the Warlocks. It's the class that has the class fantasy, that brings people in, they play it, and as you get good at anything, you keep getting told this is not the spec to take into raids and dungeons. And it has been that for far too long. Because you guys tweak with it, you turn it into some fucking god spec, and then you make some decision. It just seems to be a pattern. And I don't know if this is a common... I can't believe you guys are that hopeless. So I believe there's a whole psychology behind it to get people in to play and then swap classes. I think there's a whole... Right, we'll tweak this class this week, so, you know... I don't know. I just find to think... Destruction, I think there are some great changes done to Destruction. I think I'm being a bit unfair on Destruction. I still perceive it as an Incinerate, Chaos, Cleave spec, and the cast time of Chaos Bowl is just boring. It's just so boring. But those Void, you know, those Void window, the Void or Dimension circle things, they look actually pretty good. I think I see Cobreak in a couple of PvP videos. Really owned the fuck out of people like that. And that does bring something to it as well, because destruction should not be a green fire mage. I find the fire mages look really sexy, but I'm just so anti changing classes. I am such a stubborn son of a bitch. I can't help it. But you've got 3 great specs, and that's why I think you should double down. You talk about double down. You should define these specs like it is. Make destruction the voidy, sexy, you know, chaos summoner. Demonology is your pet monster. All the rest of it, and Affliction's your dot melee, not dot melee, your dot high movement class. That's hard to lock down. That's tanky as hell. It doesn't have crazy movement like a demon hunter or anything like that, but it has, you know, the capabilities to move around, do damage, keep dots up, you know, instant dot up targets pretty quick and get the hell out of there. And you've got Affliction should be painful, melee should be fearing demonology, and destruction should cause everyone to go, what the hell is that green circle or purple circle? But anyway, that's enough of me making my complaints.